I'm gonna make sure the car's clean. I'm gonna do certain things just to make sure, like the bookcase. If she's like, I'm about to buy a bookcase, like, okay, let me know when to come. So I'm gonna come by to put it up. That's my thing. If you're moving out your house, I'm like, well, let me know when you get settled. That's
instead of I'm gonna help you move.
Cold-blooded.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-host, Razi and Buff. Fellas, football season, week 1. Hopefully y'all are feeling good. Tell them what's on your minds. I know Razi thinking about the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, go Pack, baby, go Pack. But I just want to say, after Alabama's horrible showing yesterday to Texas, I can't do this for a whole season. They better get some stuff together. It ain't right. It ain't right. That ain't Alabama right there.
All the top teams had a tough showing though.
Yeah, I have no remorse for you, bruh. I don't feel sorry for you or anything. I hope that's what you weren't. Hope you weren't trying to pull at our heartstrings.
No, not at all. Because my actual team UAB, they lost to Liberty University of all places. So I don't even count them. So, but at least hopefully, Green Bay pulls it out from Minnesota, and I'll have a well-rounded weekend.
That's all you got for us today?
No. I didn't know if I was going to jump in first or Buff to talk about his football stuff, but I'll go ahead and jump in. But Cobra Kai's back, season 5. I haven't started it yet, but 2 midlife crisis guys start a gang war. You can't go wrong with that. So great show. Jump on that.
Your team who?
Actually, I'm Eagle. What is it? Eagle Fang?
Eagle Fang, baby.
Yeah. I like the Eagle Fangs. Miyagi-Do's just a little lame to me, man.
Yeah,
they not as bad as Russell Wilson. Oh, and that's a hot take, huh?
Oh, wow. How did he catch that straight? Golly. Dang.
But it was like, nobody disagree, right? It's like, meh.
You're on to something, guy. What else happened this week? Disney. They had their little event. I think it's D23 or D3 or whatever it is.
23.
Whatever they have. Yeah, D23. But they brought some heat, as they always do. Really excited. All the trailers dropped for a lot of different shows, man. And so I'm excited. What is Secret Wars Invasion? So we're gonna get a whole series with what's his name?
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. So it's gonna be cool. Phase 4 was a reset and we knew it, but I'm really excited for Phase 5, man. I think Phase 5 is really gonna start picking up and it's gonna be pretty dope. So
yeah, Phase 4 I've kind of been disappointed with Phase 4.
Yeah, it was more about dealing with the fallout of they call it the blip. I know we call it the snap, but it was more with dealing with the fallout of that.
Yeah. I'm trying to get everything back to where they can kind of have a concerted kind of thing.
Like we watched.
I'm liking She-Hulk though. So
that was a pretty good episode. The last episode, yo.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten into it like that. I'm always feeling like I want more. Like, oh, that was it.
Yeah, it's and this one's way different anyway because they're trying to make it a legal procedural. They're doing a good job of doing that versus like Gotham. Gotham tried to do the same thing. They wanted to be a police procedural where every episode was kind of its own standalone thing, open and close in 30 minutes type thing, and it just didn't work. And they had to go into an overarching kind of thing because that's what everybody wanted to see from Batman. So I think they're doing a good job of just being its own show and being a procedural and actually having some open and shut cases throughout every episode. So, your whole SVU Law and Order type thing, but make it more of a comedy. So I'm liking it, man. I'm enjoying it. I think it's doing Wong and Madison. They're hilarious, man. So
I take that back. Wong and Madison, 2 N's and a Y, not where you think.
Not where you think. Sophie started running around talking, yelling at. so yeah, man.
Madison and Wong make the show.
Only other thing I got, man, is this is a big week for me. We are my chapter Kappa Delta. We're actually endowing a scholarship, so I bundled that money for that. We're going to endow a $25,000 scholarship to UAB. So we'll be presenting that this weekend at the football game. So if you guys check us out on ESPN Plus, I think is where they usually stream our games. So check us out on there. I should be on the field presenting in the big novelty check and stuff, looking like a big Sabu. But you got to do what you got to do to make things work. And we are starting to get ready for the Jennica Kimberly Shop and Style event. That's going to happen October 30th. I'm a little early for that, so I'll be reminding you guys we're 6 weeks out. Three Brothers No Sense is going to be a title sponsor for it. Bros they might not even know that yet. They and Ferg and Byron haven't said yes, but I'm gonna make it happen. So we're gonna be a title sponsor for it.
Oh, I thought you just letting us know.
Yeah, it was just a big X. Yeah. So. We'll be there. We're doing a brunch during our classic weekend, October 30th. So be looking for that. We'll be sharing all the information when we get a little closer. We're a little far out, but I'm really excited about it, man. I mean, it's going to be a dope event.
Any reason why it's October this year? Because last year it was December.
It was, what we looked at is it was a weird space for the silent auction. Everybody had kind of come off of Thanksgiving, had to worry about Christmas gifts and all that stuff, and so we didn't want to kind of try to deal with holiday stuff. And it's classic weekend is a huge weekend for the Birmingham. We got a whole lot of people in the city, so we wanted to wrap it around there. And there's not a lot of Sunday events for classic weekend, so we just looked at all of that. It's Alabama's bye week as well, so we because this Jennica's scholarship is at University of Alabama, we wanted to make sure we kind of worked around football season and all that too. So it just kind of worked out where that was kind of the best weekend for it.
Smart. Gotcha.
Yeah.
The hell with football, Ferg. Drink Champs interview with Young Turk. That's what y'all need that's what y'all need to be seeing right now. That boy, we might need to get him on the show. That boy, wow. That boy is, if you have not seen this interview, first off, if you're like me, Drink Champs, they have a lot of A-list guests, but it's always hard for me to watch because Nori interrupts so much that it gets so annoying that I can't take it. But this particular interview is like Turk took over. I think Nori may have interrupted like 2 times during a 2-hour and 2.5 hour interview. So he barely interrupts. Man, Turk told it all. He don't mess with Rick Ross. He said, yeah, Rick Ross threw me in that song where he criticizing Birdman about not paying me. But I reach out to him. I've been out of jail 10 years. He ain't reached back out to me. He doing the same Birdman doing. He want everybody to know he got money now. Him and Lil Wayne caught crabs together and gave them to their baby mamas together. And he had sex with men. And, Nori prompted this, and I think he was going to give him an opportunity to kind of clear it up. Because he was like, you said you had sex in prison, and a lot of people thought, and he cut Nori off. He was like, oh, let me clear this up right now, because a lot of y'all stupid. He looked dead in the camera. He said, I had sex with men. And Nori said, wait, what? It got quiet. That's what told everything. Please, it's 2.5 hours, but trust me, you want to, if you have it where you have a smart TV where you can put YouTube on your TV, don't watch it on your phone. Throw that joint on your TV, get you a drink, and just watch it from beginning to end. It's worth it. That's all I got, bro.
Wow. First of all, I'm gonna take a step back. Are you guys okay? We lost a dear figurehead this week or this past week with Queen Elizabeth II. So, what was that? Was that a
Razi? That was Razi, folks. That's Razi.
My bad. I snickered. I'm sorry.
Y'all doing all right?
No.
Good?
I think I'm gonna make it.
I'm not all right.
Go ahead, Buff. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not gonna be mean or crass, but it's not that I don't care about her death. I don't care about any of that stuff over there. I didn't care about Meghan Markle's wedding. I don't care about what they're doing. I don't care about Prince Harry. I don't care about any of it. And I'm mad that a boxing match that I was looking forward to got postponed because they got to have like 10 days of mourning. You know, Queen Elizabeth, she did a lot of bad things. It's been well documented on Black Twitter. Not in journalism, by the way. Journalists, they paint this very positive picture of her. But if you go on Black Twitter, you can see a lot of what wrong she's done. But at the end of the day, someone died, rest in peace or whatever. I just don't care about it. And I don't care about it.
You mentioned Black Twitter. If you've only been on Black Twitter, you're missing the goods, bruh. Because Irish Twitter?
Oh,
they giving it a business too?
Business. Well, they literally dancing a jig. I think that's where they came from.
They did fireworks. They literally
Black Twitter just being petty. Man. Irish Twitter, boy, they on a whole nother level, bruh. Like, it was bad, but
I saw stuff.
I'm like you. I really don't care. What's crazy to me is how it's entertaining because it's always entertaining the memes and all this stuff. But what's always interesting is we found another way to debate. Yeah. Like it was why y'all care? Why y'all don't care? What kind of person? And it's like, you're being Uncle Tom by celebrating this, or mourning her death. It's like, wow, how did this become a thing?
All right.
So, that was interesting to me.
Russell Wilson called a stray on that. He said, "Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth." Somebody said, "I don't know, maybe he is corny." Boy can't win.
Oh man. Beast Mode need to just like mentor him or something.
Yeah.
It's crazy too because we had just made a post about some of the diamonds that she stole from, I believe, Africa, and just talked about the whole royal family and stuff, and then I feel like less than 5 days later, she passed away.
Yeah. Hey, quick question. Is this a safe space? Safe space?
Always.
I mean, we have thousands of listeners, but hey, it's always a safe space for us.
I'm gonna come clean on something. So you guys talk about The Wire a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched The Wire. Like I've watched episodes here and there, but I've never watched a full season. Like I might have watched 10 to 15 episodes total.
Okay.
But I actually started it from the beginning this week. And I will say this. I've never watched a show that makes you kind of like the characters, but hate police even more. All at the same time. That's what I'm taking from the show. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, but it's like, but it made
the Western District way, baby.
But it made me think of we talked about it, how if you look at it, our society, we love this bad boy police image, not by the books, all that stuff. And then we wonder why we're facing all these crazy allegations, and not even allegations, crazy scenarios, and I pray to God the real thing is nothing like The Wire. Like these guys are getting drunk and you know what? I'm tired. Let's go beat up some. Let's just go to the hood and beat up people. Even a lot of that first the situation where they season 1 where they burned the car up. The guys, they went in there, they burned the car. They went up into the hood about 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
And ended up catching hell. And the lieutenant kind of like him, you know?
Right.
Kind of like him. But at the same time, it's kind of like, all right, get your story straight.
Like, yeah. You hit the, what was it? You felt threatened. He hit you with the bottle.
Yeah. And it's just like, man, we wonder why there's such a gap. Why, you know, our community doesn't trust police. If it's anything like that going on behind the scenes, really? Because I don't know. We're not in the blue circle. You know, the inner circle, but that's rough, bruh. Like, but then we demonize criminals. You know, think about every police movie. We talked about this before. Every police movie, every police show. We love the bad guy cop, the rule breaker, Dirty Harry, the person that kind of breaks the rules, marches the beat of their own drum. But I don't know, bro. But it is. I mean, it's good. I mean,
yeah. Pay attention to Carver. Carver is actually my favorite arc of the entire series.
Okay.
So pay attention to Carver.
Okay.
And you said hopefully
FAMU won the first game.
It's worse.
Say what?
Actually, I was gonna say you said.
Oh, I know.
Hopefully, it's worse.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the seasons get worse, or is it worse in real life?
In real life. Yeah, in real life.
That's what's so crazy, bro.
If you make it through The Wire, I want you to watch We Own This City, which is based on the Baltimore Police Department. And when you watch that, it's like, yo, The Wire didn't go far enough.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy, bro. And it's just like, and I don't even know why we wonder why there's this conflict between the black community and police. They beating ass. Like they, I mean, when they beat let's keep going, bro.
They set it up for a sixth season. They could have done a sixth season. I don't know what happened, why it got canceled, but I would love to see The Wire come back and just kind of see some of those younger kids come back. Like what happened to the kids that grew up and where they ended up, you know, because oh, no, I don't want to spoil anything for you, Ferg. I'm not even going to say.
Yeah,
all right, never mind.
That's about it. Anything else, fellas? Oh, yeah, FAMU won their first game. We beat Albany State. Or we won against Albany State. I can't even say we beat them. So that was good to see. I think those young men needed a W. We took a hard loss last week against Jackson State.
Yeah.
Which was crazy because I expected them to kind of repeat that this week, because I was thinking that possibly they're just that good. Because, you know, Dion has gotten some really good recruits over the last few years, especially this past off season, where he was getting 5-star recruits and getting a lot of these transfers from these D1 schools. So I was thinking maybe that's just a separation of talent and showing the potential of HBCU football. And then they go play yesterday, and they won, but it was still not the same domination or dominant team that I saw the week before.
Yeah. Well, he said one of the biggest things that Dion has brought to HBCU football is the introduction of an analyst. Like, I didn't know HBCUs didn't have analysts on their coaching staff. And that is a huge thing, right? You need to know what the other team's tendencies are. What do they tend to play? What do they tend to run and all of that? Like, an analyst on your team is huge. I mean, you look at the movie Moneyball, like having a good analyst and being able to analyze what's going to happen and a statistician, that's huge. So I'm surprised more HBCUs don't have that on their coaching staff.
Yeah. I mean, and what's crazy is, I mean, if you remember maybe what year that was, the Astros won the World Series. That was a big thing about analytics in sports, because the top teams, I think 4 out of 5 of them were very heavy into analytics, and it showed how they were doing it. So, well, let's go ahead and keep it going. Who's up first?
Yeah. Oh, Sophie. Sophie's up first. She got her thing ready. She got it on lock. Hold on, let me go grab her.
She got it on lock.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Okay, Sophie's not here. I have no idea where Haley took them. They all just left.
You didn't know your child wasn't in the house?
They just all left. Didn't say nothing or nothing. But Haley's car's gone, so I assume they're with her. We can just jump into it. Maybe she'll be back by the time the end of the show.
Okay. It's either you or Ferg, man. That's first.
I'd rather defer. Let's go ahead and.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, like I said, I found my question like this morning actually. And it's a little bit about dating, but I know you guys been out of the dating game, and so you're just gonna have to put your dating hat on for this one. But I saw a post, and it said, the quickest way to know if you're dealing with a man who is ready to assume the role of a leader of a family is to ask him for help. A lot of women have a hard time doing this. Many men know that this will use it to their advantage. Open your mouth when you're in need. Now, how you need to ask depends on the man, but listen, you are not Superwoman, and when you have a partner, you shouldn't have to be. A man who thrives off of being a provider absolutely loves coming to your rescue. Do it sooner rather than later. Y'all know I don't believe in wasting time. So my question to you guys is, when you're dating somebody, do you want to be able to come to their defense, to provide for them in some type of way, to kind of defend for them? Do you want them to ask you for help or not?
Yes. I mean, yes. I guess I like a mixture, I guess. Like sometimes they can figure it out on their own, but other times they ask me and I'm able to help them as well. I remember last year during the live recording we did during your birthday, I forget which one of the guys said it. One of the guys flat out said, like, he wants to be needed. Like I think he said, it might have been Lenny. I forgot who it was, but he went over to some girl's house and the bookcase or whatever was already put together or something like that. And he just felt like he wasn't needed. So I think a lot of guys do like to feel needed. I like the mixture. I want you to be able to figure some stuff out on your own, but also be able to come to me and know that you always can come to me, whether you can figure it out or not. Like, even if you can figure it out, I may have a more efficient or better way.
Yeah. Bert?
Yeah, I agree. I think we want, I mean, any man who's approaching that a serious relationship wants to take to the next level, because it's just, if I dated 10 chicks, I wasn't trying to help all 10. Let's be honest. Like, everybody's not the same. You know, if your expectation is, you know, there's certain things I'll do, like I'll help you do small stuff, but it's not like you're struggling with your build. We're just cool, kicking it, whatever the case may be. It's not all of a sudden I'm obligated to do things for you. That's at the time I want to help you means I see myself in a position where I want to make your life easier. I don't like to see you struggle. I want to see you continuously happy and stuff like that. But I think there's a point where, you know, expectations have to be set and be realistic, right? Where just because you ask doesn't mean the answer is yes. As of right now, or at that dating stage, as the woman moves up the list of priorities on my list of priorities, that's the more I'm willing to help. Like, somebody I've been dating for a month versus, you know, by the time Z moved up here and by the time we got married, completely different things. I'm not trying to pay your rent. I'm not trying to pay your car note if that, you know, month one, month two, you know, I'm not really trying to pay it either way. But if you need help with it, like my thing is, if I make enough and I know you're struggling or this will be a break for you, then I want to make your life easier. I guess it just depends on where we're at in a relationship, you know? And I guess to the point of the question is, depending on what he's willing to do, kind of shows you where you're at in a relationship. As long as you both have realistic expectations. Like if you come out, we've been dating for 2 months, you should be paying my rent. And I say no, then your idea and the relationship and mine are two different things. I feel like Buff has something to say.
I was gonna say a woman may not even have to per se ask for help.
Yeah.
Like if she's mentioning things that she needs to get done and can't figure out how she's gonna get just in conversation, then one of the ways, ladies, you'll know how much he cares about you. He's gonna volunteer to help. You're not gonna have to ask like explicitly to help. So. Yeah.
It's those things, and it's the simple things. It's not all about money. It's okay. Right. I'm gonna make sure her oil's changed. You know, I'm gonna make sure the car is clean. I'm gonna do certain things just to make sure. Like the bookcase. If she's like, I'm about to buy a bookcase, like okay, let me know when it comes. So I'm gonna come by to put it up. You know, that's my thing. You know, if you're moving out your house, I'm like, well, let me know when you get settled. You know, that's
instead of I'm gonna help you move.
Cool.
You know, I mean, those are things. It's not all monetarily. I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts, Razi? I feel like you about to school us.
No. I saw it and I agreed, and then I started thinking about, like you said, for where we are in the relationship, what they're asking for. You know, it, especially like you say, I got it. So if you come off the rip asking for money, like that's going to be a turnoff for most guys, especially, you know, higher earners. Like, look, I know, you know, I have it, and you know, we've been dating for a month and you're like, hey, I need $100, $200 to do this. Like, I'm not that guy for you right now. Like that is very different, I think, from when we say asking for help. You know, I feel like we need to be in a little bit longer relationship before I help you, you know, pay your rent or whatever, even if it is kind of covering your rent. Like if we just went on a couple dates, I'm not helping you pay your rent that first month we you know, are dating. But small things make a huge difference in, like Byron, you said, showing me that I'm needed in the relationship, right? Like you want a partner in the relationship. It's like, hey, I'm out or I'm heading over to your house or whatever. Can you stop and pick me something up? Or can you stop and grab this thing for me that I've been meaning to get, you know? Or I'm talking about, hey, I'm going to Home Depot and you like, look, I need a filter or whatever. Can you grab one? Like that's a little different than, and that's that thing that does make guys feel wanted and needed. Like I can actually provide something and help in your life where it doesn't cost me $30, you know, for a filter or something like that. Like those are the things that I feel like I can come help with. You talked about putting together the bookshelf. If you can't do that, I don't want to be the person that's like, oh, I'm gonna come and put your bookshelf together, because that might be something that's cathartic for you. You might actually like putting together furniture. Like Jen liked putting together furniture. Like if I had offered, she would have probably turned me down, because she's like, no, I like to put it together, even if it don't come out right. Like if she got missing pieces and all that, she wanted to put it together. But it's one of those things. So, you know, being able to have that open conversation, but ladies, do ask. And like we said, like Ferg said, it will show you where we are in the relationship, right? And what kind of guy that person is. What
should they be asking? Let's take money out of it. You named a few. Byron, do you have any thoughts on what ways men can show or women should be looking for men to help?
Things. It could be simple things. It could be something as small as you taking the trash out without her asking, or you notice her grass needs cutting and she's been like paying somebody to come cut it when she really ain't got it like that. But like, who else is gonna do it? Because she, you know, you can do that. You notice a leak in her faucet or whatever, like something simple around the house that needs fixing that she doesn't quite know how to do. We have to call somebody to come do it, and you know how to do it. You just take the initiative and do it just like that.
I'm glad.
But see, that's from like a male perspective of you being proactive and you doing it. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, ladies, tell that guy or ask that guy what you need help with. Because a lot of times, I mean, I can tell you I'm the worst at it. Like, being a single parent, you just kind of figure it out and you don't ask for help. Like, and so my homegirl Nikki got on me the other day where I was about to drop Reagan her daughter comes to my house after school. I was about to drop Reagan off with her and take Sophie and Ollie to this kind of going away party, this work event actually, but it was a going away party for one of my coworkers. And I would never have asked her to say, hey, can you watch the kids for a couple hours while I go to this thing? I was just figuring it out. And we're not even dating or anything like that, but that's just a homie that I won't even ask for help for. So, you know, I'm not saying ladies ask the guy to watch your kids, but you know, you probably wouldn't. But what I'm saying is get out of your own way and say what you need help with and let that guy know what you need help with.
I'm still looking for examples. I don't know. What do they need help with?
I'll give an example. Like I said, a lot of times it might be small monetary stuff because it might not be stuff that, you know, or it could be running errands. It's like, I'm stretched super thin. So can you, that's why I said, grab something on your way to my house or whatever. You know, I had a friend that she was just like, I got all this stuff to do today. And I was just like, well, I'm already out of the house. I'm at Target. Do you need anything from Target? And I will drop that off to you. So that's one less errand that you have to run, right? Or she could call it in and pay for it, and I can go by and pick it up from the drive-through or the drive-up or whatever. But it's running those little errands. It's not having to spread themselves so thin. And as a single parent, that's a lot of times what you have to do. It's just like, I got to be in 7 different places at the same time all the time. And so just being able to say, hey, guy, can you just go by my house or stay at my house for the lawn man or the guy to come and do something in the house for me? You know, and just be there and let him in so that I don't have to leave work to come do it. You know, stuff like that. It's like, start treating me like I'm there to be a partner with you. And when you start seeing that from that guy, when that guy's cool, hey, we're in this together, so we'll figure this out, right? We can be in those 2 different spots at the same thing. And that's when you know that that's the guy that you really want a relationship with. And he's not there just to smash.
Okay. The reason I asked is because I remember for me, this is the little things. And I think that's another thing, because I don't think it's just, I'll respect your question, but I don't think it's just a male or female thing.
I agree. I was just, you know, using it from that example.
For men, a lot of we don't like to ask for help, right? It's almost taboo for us to ask for help.
We're the worst,
you know. Yeah. So I remember another thing that Z did, or characteristics she had that just took her to the next level, is she was doing things for me that I wouldn't do for myself, you know, or I kept putting off, or, you know, like it's like, I remember she came, like she deep cleaned the house. It was just like, this is a bachelor pad, dude. Like, you just need to, you know, let's do this. Or she was helping me get, you know, when I was moving to Houston and I had to put my stuff in the storage and I had so much going on. I'm like, I just need to find a storage. Like, she just went and found, you know, 5 storage units and said, hey, here's what side of town do you want to be on? This one's closer to your house, Those were things like, I appreciate that. Like, you know, that meant a lot. It was just, even when she moved here, like picking up my dry clean. When I used to work at Enterprise and I was working 60+ hour weeks, and I was putting my stuff in my clothes in the dry cleaners every week. And I remember there'll be days where I'm struggling initially because I couldn't get my dry cleaning out. It's like, oh crap.
Right.
But she made it a point to like just pick up my dry cleaning because she knew I went to work at 7. Got off at 7, right? They're closed. And so I would try to go on my lunch break or whatever. And she was just like, I'll just go on my way home. And whatever it was just that. The things I couldn't or wouldn't do for myself. And the same thing, it's those things where, I'm going to pick up something from the grocery store. I know you like this. I know I was there last night. You're out of ice cream. It's just those little things that I think all relationships still need, just not new relationships. It's a good reminder for me to still do those little things.
Mm-hmm. And is the question she asked, is that being a leader or is that just being considerate and helpful?
I think what she's saying is ladies ask to kind of see, is this the guy that you really want to be? Is that guy in that right headspace to not necessarily be a leader, but be a partner for you? Okay. Right? Are they really there for you? Yeah. And so I think that's what really caught my attention there was that makes sense. And guys are so bad about, I don't want to be a Sabu. She's not going to play me. I'm not going to be there and do everything for her. Right. And all of that. And so that, with that, I think that's a good kind of way to do it is start asking those questions and see, is that guy going to do it or not? Is he going to be that helpmate to you, ladies? Right. And see, is he going to do that? And the same with the guys. I like that, you brought that up, Ferg. It's like, we have to learn how to ask too and see, is she going to do that for us? Right. And not necessarily on that. Go ahead.
My issue with the question is it almost feels like a game. Like, I just feel like this type of stuff will come up if you date long enough and if you both decide to be serious enough. Like, and maybe this is not what she meant, but I don't think you should just say, you know what? Let me see. I'll ask him. Yeah, let me ask him this when he gets. Like, it'll come up naturally. Like, you're going to need some help at some point, and you should be able to have someone that you can depend on. I don't think you have to just manufacture something to ask a guy. It'll come up on its own.
Yeah, I agree there. I think it's just making sure that you're not scared when you do need help to ask.
Okay. Yeah, because when you were reading the question, I was rolling my eyes like, here's another one of those Steve Harvey 90-day rule type thing. Yeah. Rather than, maybe it is to a certain extent. When you're established, and let's take it's not all monetary because that's initially what comes to mind is, is he willing to do those things? I know he's off today, and I need, I really need something like I need somebody to pick up, or I need somebody to be at the house when they do this. That would be, if he could do that, that's cool. I'm off today. I had a long week, but I'm willing to get up and do those things for you. Is he willing to make sacrifices? Is he willing to use his time, his resources? Am I important enough? Am I high enough on his priority list for those things? Don't come up, like Byron said, don't come up with a list of things to ask, but if something comes up, if we're in a relationship, you're an extension of me and I'm an extension of you, let's see if that works. Are you willing to do that?
Right. Yeah. And are you, like you said, where am I on that priority list? Because a lot of times, depending on where you are in the relationship, you're not going to move up and down much in that priority list. I mean, after a few months or 6 months or whatever, you're kind of set where he has you at, and so if his boys always come first, if you say, I need you to be there for this, and he like, nah, I got a golf, tea time, or whatever. And he's always got an excuse why he can't help you. He's going to have that excuse going forward, forever. And you just got to be able to say, are you willing to deal with that or not?
Very true. You agree. You up next, Ferg? Or me?
No, I'll let you
go. Okay, I got a political question. I know I usually try to stay away from politics, but I wanted to ask you guys to see if you guys can respond to this. Why are Democratic-run cities seemingly so violent. When you look at, so I think you guys looked at it. Yeah, I sent a list in our group me chat of like the 63 most dangerous cities. And there's a lot of Democratic run cities on there. North Carolina had a lot of cities on there, by the way. But Chicago, DC, New Orleans, San Francisco recently now, to where you have car rental companies telling you may not want to rent a car because we're replacing nearly 50 cars a day for people just breaking the windshield, breaking the windows, snatching and grabbing whatever they see and run. And they're doing it they're not waiting at night. They're not waiting to see who's parked on like some back street. They're doing this on main streets in broad daylight. And it's like a epidemic there right now. Another Democratic run city. Why are they so violent?
Where can we go? So many reasons, right? I mean, we can talk.
Can you start with a list of those? Give me the top 10 to 15 cities, just so the audience, one of the listeners know.
Oh man, I don't have a chart. I was just naming some. So we know Chicago is always named, although that list I sent, they were like number 28 on the list.
Birmingham
was ahead of them. I think Birmingham and Montgomery was ahead of them because it's like, it goes off population too. It goes off population.
Yeah.
But we know Baltimore is notorious for it. Washington D.C., Chicago,
New Orleans.
Yeah, Houston, Miami. So let's go with some of those and say they're your top cities.
A lot of, when you look at melting pots, right? So higher density areas, for one. When you look at non-homogeneous areas, or now minority areas, right? Because of white flight, you start to see a lot of Democratic leaning voters when you look at any of those things, right? So a lot of times, if it's some type of melting pot, if it's a very mixed group, then you're going to see a Democratic run city. So I don't think that it's the Democratic run city is the thing that makes the high crime and everything like that. It's economics. It is, like I said, that white flight. You see a lot of people moving out to the suburbs. If they have money, they can move out. So a lot of poverty gets compressed in those areas. We already know that a lot of higher earners lean towards Republican. That's kind of normally how you see that shift. So what you end up seeing is your money moves out of the city. Your money and Republicans move out of the city. You get a lot of the platforms that the Democrats talk about, social services, money for all, right? Making sure equality, those things you need when you don't have a homogenous type of people. So what you end up seeing is Democratic led cities when you have all that other stuff, low economic pressure, when you have all the different types of people, race, ethnicities, and all that stuff. And so it's one of those things that I don't think it's cause and effect, right? I think the economics of it all forces people to lean more Democratic because a lot of times your Republican policies favor your high earners and everything like that. So, and they like to keep, I mean, we talk about it, right? Conservatism is racism. It's like they want to keep this homogenous white type of ideal. And so you can't have that in a large city. And so that's usually what you see happening there, because when you talk about the metros, a lot of times we'll talk about Birmingham, but we won't talk about Birmingham Metro, where Hoovers and Mountain Brooks and Vestavias and everybody else around Birmingham, that people go into Birmingham and work, right? And they make it the city that it is, but then they take all their tax revenue, all their income, they go out to these outers. I mean, I did it. I mean, I moved out in Hoover, right? So that they could be safe and everything like that. So what's left there in that city is the low economics, the people that have to steal because they can't get a job, the gangs, the drugs. Going back to The Wire and what you talked about, Ferg, right? Like, they have to do those things because there's no other economic engine for them. And so it's this give and take and push and pull there, where if we did have a more equitable tax system, we did have a better way of making sure that some of that greater metropolitan revenue comes back to the city to support your counties actually taking a bigger role in it, I think we'd see that. But you're not going to get that because of how just all the demographics work. So we talk about gerrymandering and everything. So it's so much bigger than just saying, oh, the Democrats run these high crime areas. I know I got off on like 17 different tangents, but it's a big thing to talk through. And I wish I had Brandon on to kind of really break it down. We might have to get him on.
Everything that Razi said, plus the Republicans want us all in one area. It's planned that way. They map cities this way. They put people, we talked about, you talked about gerrymandering. We're going to set it up this way, put everybody in one area. Y'all can have them.
Yeah.
They appeal to, Democrats are more appealing to the demographics that Razi described. Let's call it what is black and brown people, low economic people who have low economics, who are concentrated in areas, for one, because it's easier to commute to work when you're in the city. I think about where I stay. I've been here 7 years. There's no buses in my area. You can't, if you need to commute to work, you need buses. You stay inside of Houston. Cypress is on that list. Houston is. Spring isn't on that list. Houston is. Pearland isn't on that list. Houston is. Republicans playing it that way. It's sad. I mean, that's what America wants.
Yeah. And when it comes down to it, it's too much crime's getting here. We're gonna annex and we're gonna make our own city and roll out of that. And so now we're not in the Birmingham statistics, right? And now I can start taxing more. I can do different things. I can educate my kids better. It's so many ways that you can actually basically what they did is they compressed the crime into those areas.
Republicans planned it that way. That's what they want. Byron, but I'm pretty sure you're about to give us a whole nother 7th grade
social sciences course. Yeah.
I do wish Brandon was on this episode. I think it's a question that doesn't have a simple answer, obviously. And you guys have pretty much echoed that. It starts with the schools. We see how they do a lot of the schools in inner cities versus suburbs. We also see how nationally, you have the poor states, the Republican-led states that don't kick in their fair share, but they take, like each state kicks in federal funds or whatever. They, like the New Yorks, the Californias and stuff, they definitely pay more in their fair share versus some of these other states. I think when it comes to the violence, there's a lot there. But I think when it comes to what I was talking about in San Francisco and what we're seeing now with people just literally going in Walgreens and just grabbing what they want and leaving, I think some of that probably can be pointed to Democrats because the risk, the punishment it's not discouraging anyone from doing it right now. Like you look at San Francisco, there's one guy that had been arrested like 18 times for stealing out of cars. And the most he has right now is an ankle monitor. So right now, somewhere like San Francisco that has the highest, New York just passed them, but they have the second highest rent average in the country. People can't afford anywhere to live, so they got to do what they got to do. And if all I'm going to get is a slap on the wrist for stealing something that I can sell later and get money for it, then I'm going to take that chance. And so I think sometimes some Democratic leaders can be soft on crime. And it doesn't discourage anyone. But as far as like violence, like Chicago is always the punching bag for Republicans. A lot of those guns get in there from a mostly Republican-ran state, Indiana. They're able to get them and just bring them right over in the city. So it's one of those questions that I just, I know we lean left most of the time, but every once in a while I like to throw it back at the Democrats and say, hey, we still got a lot of cleaning up to do ourselves. So I just wanted to see what your response would be to that.
Yeah, when you say the penalties aren't harsh enough, there's so much research out there that shows that harsher penalties really doesn't stop crime.
Not violent crime, but stealing, yes, it would. Because when you're in a gang, or you mentioned The Wire, and you're in that type of lifestyle to where that's all that's all you're gonna do, then no. You everybody knows the penalty for murder right now. Everybody knows the penalty for selling drugs, but the reward is too great. This recent uptick in smash and grab in San Francisco, you cannot ignore the recent of it. I don't even know the word to use, but how like they have a more than 30%. They have twice as many as Washington, D.C. right now after electing. Well, I think he just got recalled back in June. But that can't be ignored. And so when you're talking about things like theft and things like that, things that people are just doing recently, then yeah, if they know they're not going to get really punished for it, then I do think punishment can deter that type of behavior. You disagree?
Very interesting conversation. I remember taking a class in college, study of criminal behavior, and that's an age-old debate.
It is.
Can punishment deter crime? It's one step below the nature versus nurture conversation.
It can to an extent.
It definitely can. I'm not saying, but then you start looking at the second order, third order effects of that, right? I mean, what do you want to do? Mandatory minimum sentence, 3 strikes on shoplifting? Like, at what point does it? Because again,
I want
that's
somebody that's been arrested 18 times for the same time have to do some jail time. That's what I want to Razi.
So 6 strikes and you out. Okay,
we got to admit the Democrats are full of shit sometimes, and they don't get it done.
I'm not defending the Democrats.
Yeah. I'm definitely not. Like we said, it's a complicated subject, and so that people have tried it. All kind of folks have tried different ways. But hey, we can do the Bunny. What is it? What was Bunny's last name?
Bunny Colvin. Don't give away that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
But I mean, you look at Razi. You look at the fact.
He almost did it again. Go ahead, Ferg. Go ahead.
Bro, we're talking about a 20-year-old show. It's like
he's watching it though.
If this was last week, that's cool. I literally said I'm watching it. There's no respect, man.
That's why I stopped.
Well, so I already stopped you. Thank you, Buff.
I wasn't gonna do it.
But
oh man,
I don't know. It's a touchy subject. I mean, is it the situations? Is it the people or the situations that dictate crime? Is it the fact that they are in these areas where the risk outweighs the reward? Like, why am I stealing 18 times? I know I can go to jail. Like, I gotta feed. I gotta do this. I mean, it's just.
Also, it's that thing where they asked the bank robber, why did you rob the bank? And he says, because that's where the money is. Like in these cities, like Razio mentioned, a lot of affluent people work in the city or whatever. They have the money. So you're going to find people that have the money and try and rob them versus if I live in Enterprise, Alabama, and hell, the next house is 8 miles down the road or whatever, I ain't doing a lot of robbing. You know what I mean? Like, you're
right.
There is no metro for me to catch and go into town or things like that. So it definitely is like a lot that goes into it. Like just the convenience of having a train system to take you from where you live, say in the projects or wherever you are, you have a means to get to where the people with money are, versus if you're in Oxville, Mississippi, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think limited resources to the point where limited opportunities. We know the dope game. We know certain things. I'm gonna ask a lot of these young men how to make it out of the hood, or how to make a decent earning. A lot of people don't know anything besides what they see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm not trying to make that as an excuse, but it's just a lot of times it's exposure to alternatives. This is the way of life. Even just watching The Wire, I'm sitting there looking at if you watch the show and you see how comfortable a lot of these young kids were in these situations as grown as men, we're like, nigga, I'm not going down there. Like, you're not gonna walk, you can't walk in these neighborhoods comfortably. These kids are riding scooters over there, walking over crack pipes and like it's nothing. This is their norm. Yeah. And when crime and poverty is normalized, when crime and poverty is normalized, it's hard to see anything else. Same, we grew up around areas where people didn't see high school was the pinnacle of their life. They had when they turned 18, 19, that's when they were in the real world. That's when life hit them hard, and they didn't know where to go from that point on. They weren't going to college. They're not getting out of town. It's only so many options. Well, stealing, killing, selling. It is what it is. So, do we have time?
I don't think so. We're right at an hour now. Yeah, we started pretty close to the start.
All right, Ferg, you get first question next week then.
No. As a matter of fact, we're not going to do that, because let's go ahead and talk about next week, fellas. We are going to
yeah, we don't need a question next week. Yeah.
We are going to do an episode around the reversed battle of the sexes. So we're going to have a few women on the show, and the brothers and the women are going to have open conversation and dialogue on topics and questions that I would consider maybe like a great divide between men and women. And it's not all just relationships, but the goal is to argue the affirmative for the other sex. Our goal is to try to take a step back, leave our male privilege or whatever the hell they want to say at the door, and try to understand and argue or debate their point of view. And we're going to ask the women to do the exact same thing and see if we get somewhere from that. Because it started from a video that somebody posted. It was like, men, you need to understand that women are more emotional and all this stuff like that. And it's like, okay, you're right. The way we're wired, the way my wife and certain women were taught is a little different. But at the same time, that's one-sided. Like, you're asking us to remember and to understand how a lot of women would approach certain subjects. Why not have women do the same thing? And that's where the whole reverse battle of the sexes came from. So we asked the audience, the listeners, if there's any questions that you would like to put out there that we can discuss, please hit us up. I think we're going to do a post. Byron, can we do a post on that? What are the issues or challenges, biggest issues and challenges between men and women? And we'll see what the audience says, and we'll try to pick a couple of those. So I think it's going to be a very entertaining show.
I like it.
Nice.
What else you guys got?
Nothing again, man. Like I said, I wanted to just congratulate Katie again for endowing this scholarship. Remind everybody, shopping style's coming. So get ready. If you have any type of donations that you'd like to donate, just reach out to us at 3 Brothers No Censor. You can hit me up on Facebook. DM me if you want to donate anything to the silent auction. We love anything that's, clothing items, handbags, shoes, anything like that. They go really, really well in the auction. So they all have to be new though. So we're not doing any, upcycling or anything like that. But if you do want to donate some new items to the auction, let us know, hit us up, and then we'll kind of coordinate to be able to get those. So I just appreciate all the support as always, man. Congrats, Katie, again, and hope to see you guys October 30th.
You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. That was Lieutenant Gordon in The Dark Knight. I know somebody else said that before him, but that's where I remember it from. Jay-Z, who everybody was gushing over his verse on God Did, just a few days later, he made some comments about, comparing capitalism and the names that some people call capitalists and billionaires. He compared that to being called racial slurs, and saying that, that's you got to come up with stronger words. Whatever he said, he got some backlash for it. And people were saying he's trying to have it both ways. You can't be a man of the people and a billionaire. That's not how this works. I'm not here to debate that. I'm here to use that to just tell you that compliments are great. Okay. And sometimes criticism can hurt, but don't let either get you too high or too low. Because just right there, who we consider the GOAT was getting all this praise for this verse that he had just dropped. And then 2 or 3 days later, it flipped on him, just like that. And that's just how the opinions of the public can be. So if you're in any type of public forum to where you're open to criticism and things like that, or even if you aren't, just take it as it comes. Know who you are, know what your intentions are, and just don't get too high, too low. Also, happy anniversary to the Blueprint. We're recording on September 11th. I don't say never forget when it comes to the terrorist attacks on 9/11 because America forgot. America forgot a long time ago. I worked at TSA. Trust me, they forgot. Nobody wants to be screened. Everybody says we need security until they're the ones that have to be screened, and then they're cussing at you about how they're about to miss their flight. So America forgot. Never forget is a joke. But happy anniversary, Blueprint, one of the best albums of all time from Jay-Z. And that's all I got.
You know what? Thank you, Byron. For the first time in 20 years, I forgot it was 9/11.
Dang. Yeah.
I remember it every year because, we went to Afghanistan. And we actually got back on 9/11/2003. So those 2 days coincide and stick out for me. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in once again. Shout out to Inspire You on Air, the new beat of the Bay, for just connecting us with so many great people, getting the word out there. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. I want to send a shout out to one of my fraternity brothers, Colby Fontenot, and his wife. They are doing a Black health series called Black Marriage Works, where they're encouraging couples to work out together so you can sign up and do workouts and live a healthier life together with your significant other. So Z and I are looking into joining in. I think it's 3 or 4 times a week. We were looking at the pricing. It's really decent. So I'll make a post on that, but I think it's a great opportunity. I remember talking to Kobe the other day. He says he's a personal trainer, and he was like, this is the time of year everybody slacks. They get around the holidays, it gets cold, they just stop working out, and then at the beginning of the year they always come to him and say, hey, put me a plan together. And he said no more. So he's going to challenge people to work out together. It starts tomorrow. So the day this drops, 9/12, I think it's the first day of the Black Marriage Works kickoff. So Shout out to you, Kobe. And with that being said, Three Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. See you next week.